A banana sits on the counter. You're not looking at it. Is it still there? Obviously, you say, but quantum mechanics spent a century refusing to give that answer about anything smaller. And the reason it refuses is much stranger than the pop science version you've been told. First, what superposition actually claims. It does not say a particle is in two places, secretly, like a coin already heads up under your hand. It says something worse. Until it interacts, there is no fact about which one it is. The experiment that forces this on you is embarrassingly simple. A source, a barrier with two slits, a screen behind it. Fire anything you like through it. Light, electrons, whole molecules. With both slits open, you get stripes. Bright, dark, bright, dark. That's interference. And for waves, it's boring. Two ripples meet, crests add, crest meets trough, and they cancel. Nothing mysterious yet. So turn the source down, way down, until you're firing one single electron at a time with long gaps so nothing can possibly interfere with anything else. Each one lands as a single dot, a particle, one spot on the screen. Now wait, let the dots pile up. 10, 100, 10,000. And out of all those individual unrelated specks, the stripes come back. Each electron landed somewhere random. Together they drew an interference pattern. Think about what that means. A single electron, alone in the machine, had to somehow sample both slits. Because if it only ever went through one, there is nothing for it to interfere with, and you'd get two plain blobs instead. Now the famous part. Put a detector at the slits so you know which one each electron used. Change nothing else. The stripes vanish. You get two blobs. Knowing the path destroys the pattern. And this is where people go wrong. It is not about consciousness. Nobody's mind is reaching out and changing anything. What matters is whether the which path information physically exists anywhere in the universe. A detector nobody ever reads still kills the stripes. So what is actually traveling? We describe it with a wave function. And the crucial thing is that it is not a probability. It's an amplitude, a number that carries a phase, like the position of a spinning hand. To get a probability, you square it. That's the Born rule, and it is the only place randomness enters the whole theory. Everything else, the evolution, the spreading, the interfering, is perfectly smooth and deterministic. And squaring is exactly why interference works. Amplitudes can be negative, or point the opposite way, and cancel to nothing. Probabilities can't. You can't have minus 30% of an electron. That's the whole trick. Fine, that's electrons. How big can you push it? Much bigger than you'd think. Buckyballs, 60 carbon atoms, interfere. And in 2019, a team pushed it to molecules of 25,000 atomic mass units. 2,000 atoms, behaving like a wave. Two reasons, and the first is size. Every object has a wavelength. Planck's constant divided by its momentum. For a banana ambling along at walking pace, that comes out around 10 to the minus 33 meters. That is a million billion times smaller than a proton. The second reason is the real one. Decoherence. Your banana is not alone. Roughly 10 to the 26 air molecules smack into it every second. Photons bounce off it. Every single one of those carries away information about where it is. So the universe is running the which path detector on your banana constantly for free. The information about where it is leaks into the air, the light, the table. Long before you ever walk into the room, the stripes were dead before you got there. Which brings us to the cat. And everyone gets this backwards. Schrödinger was not proposing that cats live in blurry half-states. He invented that cat in 1935 to mock the idea. It was a reductio, a joke aimed at his own colleagues. But here's the twist, and it's the honest bit. Decoherence explains why you never see a blurry banana. It does not explain why you get this outcome instead of that one. The equations keep both. Reality hands you one. Nobody knows why. So physics offers you a menu, and they all predict identical experiments. Copenhagen says the wave function simply collapses, and don't ask what that means. Objective collapse says it's a real physical process, and bigger objects collapse faster. Many worlds takes the cleanest line. Nothing ever collapses. The equation just keeps running. The banana and you get entangled, and both outcomes happen in branches that can no longer talk to each other. You are simply one of the copies. And before you reach for the easy way out, maybe the answer was written down all along, and we just couldn't see it. That door's shut. John Bell worked out how to test it, and the experiments went against hidden variables. That work won the 2022 Nobel Prize. So, Is your banana in two states before you look? No, not in any useful sense. It is far too heavy, and the air in your kitchen has been measuring it relentlessly since the moment it was picked. But notice what that answer costs you. The banana isn't definite because reality is sensible. It's definite because it is drowning in interactions. Shrink it, cool it, seal it away from everything, and the question comes straight back. Definiteness isn't the natural state of things. It's something the universe has to keep doing.